trusting yourself is very hard. It is something that I think you have to really learn how to do. And with the moment that you have bad experiences after trusting yourself, you kind of break the trust with yourself. Think about it this way. Your partner or friend does something that breaks the trust. They steal from you. They cheat on you. How can you actually trust them again? And trust with yourself is no different. When you lie to yourself constantly and you don't follow through on some promises, or you maybe do your best but it leads to a terrible outcome, how is it possible for you to trust yourself and follow through with your intuition again, because it just kind of led to such a disaster? So in this video, I want to talk about this topic. I want to talk about why trusting yourself and getting to a point of trusting yourself is important, and why we actually end up stop trusting ourselves, and then finally kind of bridge into the world of how we can start trusting us again. So to start off, why is trusting yourself important? Well, for one, it's you, baby. Like, you are living life. You are in the driving seat. And if you are not trusting yourself to be in that driving seat, someone else is in it for you. Oftentimes this takes form as taking and following through on advice from other people. You seek validation from them on how you should be, and it kind of controls who you'll become. Suppose you were never one to have the last decision in your life. I don't think that's your life anymore. Suppose you had to ask someone for advice, or in our modern age, honestly, Google absolutely everything, or ask AI about everything. If this is you, you're not trusting your intuition, you're not trusting your gut, you're not trusting you. And you are wasting so much energy, context switching from your own life to then, project a question and on a questioning board and get an answer back. Like, when you don't trust yourself, you stop thinking entirely. And it just, you're actually wasting so much energy by doing it too. Like, it's so counterintuitive, because you stop engaging in your own thought, but then you save energy doing that. But then you spend so much energy trying to get the answers of what you should do from other people. But like, newsflash, why should the others have all the answers? There is such thing as wisdom. There is such thing as advice, and people lived through stuff before. But are you going to make the decision for yourself? Can you trust yourself to do that? And I think it's super important to get to a point where you can, because then you live with kind of this autonomy. You don't have to second guess your life. You don't have to second guess your own personality, for instance. You're just you. It's your character. The decisions that you make are a product of who you want to become, and not a weird blended up form of who you're not. So that's why you should trust yourself. It's important. It's a huge component of life. So what about this idea of why do you stop trusting yourself? How come this happens to us? And I think it comes down to a very simple reason is that at some point in your past, you would have made a decision to follow your gut, and it led to a very poor outcome. And as a result, the next time it's up to you to make a decision, you're scared to. You don't want to risk making another shitty decision. And then there's some other people out there who made a similar decision as you, and it worked out great for them. So they're gonna keep doing the same decision again over and over. But you maybe just got unlucky. And the decision turned terribly. So you got a negative experience. You're gonna stop trusting yourself. And then as well, maybe you stop trusting yourself because you value too much. You value another person's opinion far too much than your own. Like you are living through someone, if you will. Like I think often role models can have this effect. We have these people in our lives that we kind of aspire to be, and we ask ourselves if they would approve of what it is that we want. And I think it's kind of an interesting thing because maybe they uphold the values that we have, but they are not you. Role models are not you. They are just these people you put on pedestals. So there are going to be differences. And if there's something in your life that you're longing to do and your role model doesn't do it, that's not a sign that you are necessarily wrong and incorrect with how you want to live at all. But it may feel like it. It may feel like you're not doing the right thing. And this leads into a more general category. For me, when I was younger, I really wanted to run. I had this craving, but no one around me did. And it felt like it's such a stupid thing to do then. Why would I want to run then if no one around me did? So it felt like I was crazy for wanting to run. So you kind of don't trust yourself then. Am I the crazy one, you ask yourself, for wanting to do this, for feeling this way? Am I the crazy one for wanting to raise my hand in class to ask a question? This trust issue, it can build. And the longer you don't address the trust or find out like the answers to these questions, the more you maybe think that you're just the crazy one. You're the one that has these ideas, but, you shouldn't really follow through with them. And another interesting idea or example of this, I think, is wanting to make change. So I talked to my cousin the other day about this decision that was made at their workplace. And there was like 10 people that were receiving this news. And the 10 people, my cousin was saying, like, you'd all feel this vibe of like this uncomfortability where they're all feeling weird about the news, but no one's trusting enough of their own reality to say something. They're kind of acting like everyone else is okay with it. And the more you play in that reality, the less you trust yourself. Because you need to get feedback in order to know if you can trust yourself. So there's this idea of you stop trusting yourself because you attempt to go get feedback by, let's say I go for a run and then get hit by a car. I got negative feedback there. I will never probably run again. That's the world telling me I shouldn't run. But then you can also get a lack of feedback. So then you stop trusting yourself too. And that leads to the conclusion then that the only way to begin trusting yourself is by acting on it. By following through with your gut and seeing what the outcome will become. Because if you never close the feedback loop, you will never start to learn whether or not you could trust yourself. When I worked up enough courage to go for a run, unbeknownst to the rest of the world, look at me, I'm running, I'm a crazy guy going for a run. It's not that big, not that deep, but it felt that deep at the time. I get that feedback from my own body that actually this feels good. I'm gonna keep doing it. When I raise my hand in class to ask a question and my friends or colleagues whisper to me, being like, "Oh, thank you. I had that question too." That's feedback. But that only happens when you're willing to take the leap of trust. And what happens if it leads to the disaster? Sometimes you are unlucky where you follow through with your gut and your intuition, and it leads to a situation that you're not happy with. That does happen. So why should you trust yourself again? Well, you should, because it's the only thing to do. As long as you're learning from your experience of maybe what went wrong, it's time again to take another leap. Because what are you gonna do? Live your whole life not in control of your reality and just living by what other people deem that's good fit for you? No. You have to get back up. Actually think about, when I did that thing, this happened. How do I not make that happen again? And if you can rationalize or figure out maybe a little answer to this question, you have all the right to trust yourself again. Because you're iterating on what you think is best. If you are doing the best at which you can, why should you not trust yourself? It is the best that you can to your abilities. And that's all you can offer. So you should trust yourself. And it takes so much courage to do it, to take the leap of faith. But frankly, it's the only way, because as I said earlier, what's the alternative? You don't trust yourself? So, and when you make a decision, I think maybe you do feel encouragement from what other people say is, "Oh, that's a great decision. Keep it up." But no. This is a false sense of trust in yourself. Because if you operate on the feedback of others, then again, this is by definition, you're not trusting yourself. If you do something and you get feedback from other people saying, "That's a great job," and you're more inclined to do it again, then you're kind of operating from the standpoint of wanting to appease the people. But if deep down you genuinely were like, "Oh, look, it's a fish fly," but if deep down you genuinely want to do that thing, then do it again. Trust yourself. You don't want to live a world where you're just serving the ideals of other people. Because that is almost, to me, that's like a prison in a way, like a mental, you've put yourself in a box. And why do you want to be in a box? I don't want to be in a box. So, this is my video. on trust in yourself. It's important to trust yourself because, to be frank, you're all you got. You're you. And if you can't trust your own reality, then living a fruitful, happy life will be very hard. And sometimes we stop trusting ourselves because we don't get any feedback because we are too scared to act. And it's also potentially a disaster. And when we did act. And the only way to build that confidence, that trust back up, is by doing. So do the thing. Be brave, be bold, and recognize that you are doing this for you. Operate from your heart. You're doing these things in your life for you first. And if you can do that, then you're trusting yourself, you're trusting your soul, and you genuinely want the stuff. But I'm Matthew. I hope you have a great evening. I know I am. Rest in peace, England. The World Cup today. But Argentina versus Spain is going to be lit. Take care. Peace and love.